Episode 5, The Letter. Before we start today's episode, please visit www.fight-the-4.com, where you can follow along and see progress on my own trial, as well as there's an opportunity to donate. The reason why I have a page for donations is versus having a subscription fee for this or any of that is because I feel like the goal of all of this is to help people in this situation, people who find themselves in a high conflict custody battle. And the goal here is to provide a resource and an opportunity not only to help with my own stuff, but as well as others. And this also gives me an opportunity to create a resource that allows easy access to information because divorce is a business. You know, everything you do in divorce, in custody, costs you money. So I want to be able to go back to school, get a PhD, and I want to be able to provide these services to people in a way that's beneficial and not charged through the roof, which is what happened in my situation, right? Forensic evaluations are expensive. Expert witnesses are expensive. Everything you do is expensive. And eventually you run out of money. And that's all this is a legal strategy. So that is the reason why there's a donation page. It's something that provides beyond just the immediate need. It's something that I hope to evolve into a larger situation. All right, let's start today's episode.
This is your warning for minute warning.
Episode 5, The Letter. This is an episode that is extremely hard. This is one of those situations where a specific piece of information, this letter, changed the course of everything. It's something that I still think about to this day. It took me a long time to get over my anger from this letter. It's something that changed the course of my own future. It changed a lot of things about myself. It also, I'm still not over it, and I don't know if this is going to be a one part or two part episode. I'm not sure yet. I've tried to write this down and figure out the outline of this episode and what I wanted to talk about. That did not work very well for me. Thought about it over and over in my head, what I want to say, and I don't know. So I'm gonna fumble through this, and it's gonna be raw. It's gonna be pretty emotional. It's it's taken me a lot of time to reconcile specifically what happened. And what happened was this. So the forensic evaluation, which just happened in the previous episode I talked about, had concluded. It had concluded in August of 22. It started in September-ish or October-ish of 2021, and it lasted until August of 22. And when you're done with a forensic evaluation, you basically are handed a detailed analysis along with some items that would are recommended for you to do to make you a better person. So, and after we got the report in August, I dug full in because I had made a choice. And that choice was to accept this and to become a better person. That way, not only would it benefit me in the immediate term because it reduces stress and anxiety, but it also would benefit me long term because at some point you know, to be able to love again is a big deal. And after what I've been going through at this point, I thought that was off the picture. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I knew that was wrong because, you know, that's just not a good way to live. So I made the choice. I didn't realize how much that choice was going to get tested, and it started right off the bat with this letter. So the forensic evaluation concludes. I get my list of things to do that were recommended, which I thought were great. I did them, and you know I worked through them until August. So August, September, October, November. It took me a while. Some of them were a little bit more complicated than others. And there was some, you know, activities that had to be done between the two of us as co-parents. So I tried to engage with those, but it was very unsuccessful. In the meantime, over the holiday of the 21 going into 22, Christmas of 21, I had to go back to court for more time because I had asked my ex for more time with the children, given it was the holidays, and the answer was no. So I went back to court and actually got awarded more time with them over the holiday season, which was great. And then, the TPA has established a set schedule for us for visitations and all that stuff, which was going well. One of the best pieces of advice my attorney gave me was just to make sure that you have cameras on. That way you can record things in case there's any accusations down the road. Knowing this particular case and knowing my ex and the opposing counsel, she thought that would be a really good idea. Little did I know how important that was going to become. So, Professor evaluations concluded. We go on our ways to work on ourselves, to be better parents, to be better people. And I go all in. I complete all of the tasks that were given to me, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot along the way. It's just a better way of how to handle things. I think it started with making a decision to change my attitude towards this, and then going through the evaluation and getting a list of recommendations. They just were more tools to add to that decision, right? So how do you reinforce the behavior? You put in tools and methods in a process. So that was happening, and things were moving along. Yeah, but I felt there was some resistance from my ex in terms of wanting to do the things that were recommended. And I wanted to get this wrapped, right? It had been going on now almost into the third year, and I was like, all right, this is enough. Like financially, it's exhausting. Emotionally, it's exhausting. And I really just wanted to start my life now being, when you're divorced, just the divorce itself is an opportunity to kind of re-identify yourself, right? You get to, who do you want to be? And, I had decided this is who I wanted to be, this, accepting of all of my faults and really working on being a better person and being a better friend as well. I think that was important too. So there's a lot of things that I could improve on. I had been in a really toxic relationship for a while. The last, 6, 7, 8, 9 years were bad. They were just we weren't communicating. It was a lot of baggage that I had to go through, and this was my chance to really come out of this thing. Okay, what's the end result of all of this? So I started working towards that goal. And part of that is no matter what happens to my ex, she's still the mother of my children, and I have to be respectful of that. And learning how to co-parent is going to be huge because even when these kids are well beyond 18, they're going to need both of us. They're going to need as many people as they possibly can because it's not really easy out there today. And they need both people, and they need both people to be at their best. And we were not at our best when we were together. It was very obvious. So now that we're not together, it allowed me to really put some stuff in place where I felt like I was being my best self. I really felt like I was having agency again. I was being authentic, and those are really important to me as a person. And those are things that I had let go of. And that was the fault that I made in the marriage, and why it fell apart is because I lost my agency. I lost who I was, and I knew it was wrong, but I just did not do the right things to put it in the right place. Instead, I just succumbed to it, and that was wrong. That was a big learning for me. So this was an opportunity to put this all behind and start to really move forward, build relationships again with the kids as not as a couple but as individuals, and start there. So the forensic evaluation concludes in August, September, October, November. Start working, getting all of this stuff done. And then I start realizing that, my ex isn't really doing things that were required for us to do together. And I was getting concerned because I wanted this to be done. This had been going on too long. So I start pushing in that direction, and it's met with silence. It's like I asked, emails around just, hey, this is something that we should do together. We have to figure out how to co-parent. Nothing in response. There was no replies. So it just kept falling nowhere. So at that point, I felt the need to get my attorney involved to push it a little bit further. So this was in December. And then towards the end of December, I got the letter. And ugh, this letter, it was a letter that contained a series of false abuse allegations. from a medical provider. It was one of my children's psychiatrists, and it had made some serious allegations around me as a person and my children, my son, and it really took me by surprise. I felt as if the wind had been taken. I feel like someone just punched me straight in the gut. And this is where I realized my worst fears had come true, which were, when you're in these situations, you run through all these scenarios like, what if my ex does this? What if my ex does that? What are the impacts on this? Should I be prepared for this? Should I be prepared for that? I was not prepared for this. This is where I realized all of those red flags that I saw in the relationship were on full display. And all of the trauma that my ex had encountered throughout her life was just blatantly pushed in front of me, onto me, and now I am that trauma. And I thought it was extremely irresponsible for the children's psychiatrist to produce a letter like this without even talking to me, knowing full well that there was a forensic evaluation happening. It had been concluded. So the forensic evaluation concludes, and then 4 months later, this person decides to write this letter declaring abuse, and from moving forward, that it's in the children's best interest to have supervised visits because I'm a threat or a danger. And this is where the amplifier on a high custody situation gets turned all the way up. And this also caused me to really, this is what caused me to go to grad school to learn more about this. Because when you're in grad school and when you're becoming a mental health practitioner, you take an oath, and one of those oaths is to do no harm, right? It's in the guidelines. And in that oath is to do no harm. And that no harm is not only to your clients, but to you, your clients, and other situations. And this did direct harm because, it created a situation where a child's reality was manipulated in a way that was not accurate. And it wasn't accurate because what my ex did not, I think my ex did not appreciate the findings of the forensic evaluation. So therefore, there had to be something else. And this was this is a pattern at this point, right? And I should have known that. I should have seen this pattern. And I don't know why I thought it would be any different, but the same pattern that led to the divorce was the pattern that is happening again now, which is preparation and then attack, right? The whole preparation up to the divorce was trying to get me in a position that would be a slam dunk for her to have custody of the children. And this is exactly how I felt. I felt as if this individual did not like the outcome of the TPA and therefore needed to turn that tide a little bit. And so much so that not only did it cause multiple trials after this, but it also caused an entirely new forensic evaluation. And we'll talk about that one down as much as we can down the road, and what happened on that one. So this letter triggered an avalanche of things, and it was just so irresponsible. Like, without knowing that this is a high conflict situation, knowing that there's a forensic evaluator out there, a doctor who is actually forensically looking into both of us from a psychological standpoint, to produce something like this after the fact is extremely dangerous. But my attorney told me to record everything. So when these allegations come out, I have submitted evidence and this was submitted into court of the videos of all of these situations that were allegedly happened that didn't happen. So now, you've got a person who's claiming all of these allegations, and I literally had a witness with me at the time, and I had video proof of, because my youngest son, bless his heart, was very descriptive of what happened in terms of the time, the place, and everything like that. And because I had these precautions in place, I was able to, okay, refute this in a way that was just, it was a mute point. But no, their opposing counsel kept harping on it and driving on it and driving on it, and it got really ugly. Now, it it took its toll, because my mind and body were working towards resolution and being done with all of this so that we could heal as a family. My goal was to start healing as a family. I will never, my feelings towards my ex probably will never change, and that's okay. That's my decision, but I also know that this is the mother of my children, so there has to be respect, and there has to be, there has to be a semblance of a relationship. Now, kudos. Uh, I never talked bad about their mother in front of them. I will never do that. I don't think that's not healthy for anybody, including me. To have that toxicity come out is dangerous, and I won't do that. And I haven't done that. And I had felt like the first time when this letter came that it was not the same in return. I felt betrayed. I had felt like I am now going to be in a dogfight with this person because their only mission is to win. Their only mission is to have complete custody of the children. And that is not at all what I want. As a matter of fact, even today, I don't want that, right? I don't think kids benefit with just one parent. I think they need two. They need more, right? They need a lot of people to help them through life. And the more people that love them genuinely and can help them, the better. And they may go to different people for different things or different times in their lives, and that's completely okay. But to have someone who is just, no, and multiple times did she want custody of these kids, full custody, and trying to put me in a position that was just awful. And it insulted my character, and it really insulted me because at some point, yes, there was love, right? We had to have been. We got married. I mean, there had to have been at some point, and to completely just roll over on that. We had been together for 13 years at the time, married, and we had been dating for much longer than that. We met in college. Like, it just, it took, it took a lot out of me. And it also fueled an entirely new direction in my life. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the reasons why I'm doing this today is because of a situation like that, where you have false allegations presented against you that not only damage your character, and I'm a grown man, I have the tools in place where I know I can get help. But when you create this universe for a child, they inherit that belief, and this is what they think, right? Because they don't know, they don't understand that, they don't get it. And when somebody else paints that reality for them, they're going to buy it 100%. Why wouldn't they? And that's extremely dangerous because now it put this child in a compromised situation about another person, their biological father, me, and the way they feel about me. And I haven't recovered from it. I can still see it today that these children, they're reluctant to. We went from hugging and wrestling and just being boys to this completely cold, standoffish environment that I just did not understand. I didn't understand how it could flip so quickly when nothing happened. And, this is all, once again, this is why I really want people to learn from this. There's trials on this. If you go to my website, you'll see it. You can look it up and you can look and you can make the decision because it is public record. These trials are there. And that's why it's extremely important to promote this, especially now. And I'm trying to gain awareness and attention around this horrible situation where this is allowed to happen. It's allowed to happen on multiple reasons, right? Because one, of wealth. It's hard to fight all of this all the time with money because when someone has a lot more money than you do, they can keep doing this and keep doing this. And it's just it has to end. This is not, and this all this does is damage the children. And I'm not I'm not sure where to go next on this one. I can tell you that, the trials coming up after this situation were hard. At some point, he will try to file for emergency custody, which then triggers this entire new forensic evaluation. So I think what I'm going to need to do with these types of episodes are sit with them, put them out in the universe. If there's any questions, if anybody ever has any questions to me, please, my email and contact information is in the show notes of this show. You can reach out to me, but I think I probably will release more around all of these once we're a little bit further down the road. But yeah, this was a really tough one. This one really, really hurt. And this was the moment that I knew this was going to be a very long, long battle.